What's good people? Vets, let's talk. Hey, we got a special guest in front of the formation again. Sergeant First Class Shannon Ward. Hey, man, self-care, plans, and purposes. What we going to be talking about today. But before we get started, click that like, share, and subscribe. You already know what I say, HBO special. Help a brother out. How you doing today, man? Hey, don't let me forget. Hey, man, paradedeck.com is where you can find many more military influencers. Just reach out, look them up, paradedeck.com. Once again, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I think I talked to you this morning, gave you a phone call to talk to you a little bit about the podcast. You said you was on a walk, and then
Yeah, man, I
you
was on a
jumped.
walk.
You jumped off real quick because you was about to fall on your head, man. Are you okay? Did you make it
Man,
through all right?
I'm doing great, man. I was I was getting about a half a mile. I had about a half a mile left in it, and I tried to run that last half mile just to get the heart rate super up, and it's all uphill. So it's nothing downhill. It's just straight uphill. And around that time, man, you heard how hard I was breathing. I was getting close to that build up. So
I
I was
heard
like,
it.
man, I need to get off the phone. I got to get my mind right, man. And, needless to say, I only made about a quarter of a mile running before I
I,
power walk the rest of it out.
I was sitting there thinking, like, man, I should have got Janice's phone number just in case he kind of passes out because might have to call for help. Put up the bat signal.
Right.
Hey,
I'm
man,
with you.
what's the weather like down there? I know it's in Texas, but the weather is kind of different in these two different areas because Texas is like its own country.
It
It's,
really is. The weather is really starting to cool down. We've been in the 70s and 80s. It's gonna be 80 today, 80 tomorrow. Now, Monday the high is gonna be 50.
hmm,
Tuesday the high is gonna be 52. Wednesday's only supposed to be like 60. We won't get into nothing more than the mid 70s next week, dropping down into the 30s during the nights. And man, I love this time of year, man. I got a fire pit in the backyard, man. I was out at Lowe's today, bought some wood. I like roasted marshmallows and just having I like Coke Zero, so have me a can of Coke Zero. Don't laugh, man. You know what I'm saying? And just sit back, roast some marshmallows, can of Coke Zero, and just relax and take it easy.
I'm not gonna talk about that Coke Zero, bro. I'm, I'm
Right?
gonna leave that alone. Yeah, this is good weather. Has it been raining a lot down there?
It hasn't rained a lot, but it did rain last Tuesday, and it rained half of the day. So we were like 1.5 inches below for the year. I think we picked up like an inch, inch and a half. So we had some pretty good rain on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's been kind of raining at least 3 days in a row here. We've been getting
Mm-hmm.
my grass been loving it, but at the same time, I gotta get out there and cut it. You know.
Hey man, that's relaxing, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah, I guess it is.
man. Throw the earbuds in and just get out there. Like I was gonna honestly, I was gonna do it today.
Right.
Like work in the yard. But man, I was tore up after that walk. I was like, I'm about to sit down on this couch and watch some football.
Right,
And that's
right.
pretty much what I did.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
let's let's go ahead and jump on into it.
Let's get into it, brother.
Hey, are you a visionary in your in your approach to transition from the military, or do you kind of hope everything falls into place?
So I'm gonna say I was a visionary, but I want to quantify that by saying I was a lazy visionary.
Hmm.
A lot of times, and let me explain. A lot of times we can have a plan. However, we don't always fully develop that plan. So because we don't take the time to fully develop the plan that we're trying to accomplish when we get out of the military, when things don't go right, we start to be like, man, why is everything going wrong? And a lot of times because we didn't completely develop the plan. And let me give you an example of this. And I tell this to veterans all the time. When you're in the military, you're who's who. When you get out the military, you are who are you? And you get a handshake and say, thank you for your service.
That's
Now
strong.
let's keep it moving. So that's why, I said that I did have vision, but it was times in my transition that I was lazy because, like all veterans, I got 20 years of experience. They have to want me. And then you come to find out that that's not always the case. Matter of fact, what the federal government did was for every veteran that a company hires, they give them an $8,000 tax credit to encourage them to hire veterans. But in your transition, moving from military life to civilian life, you can assume that just because I served my country for 20 years or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, that's instantly I walk into a job, charades fall from the sky, people cracking champagne bottles and welcome to the team, and you're the guy we've been waiting for. We just couldn't wait for you to get out. That's not reality. So when we look at being a visionary, we have to think this thing through. Know that there are gonna be some roadblocks, knowing that there are gonna be some things that we have to tweak, or we may even have to cut out of the plan that we have for ourselves.
Right.
So that's my thoughts on being a visionary. You really gotta think it out, and then after you think it out, you gotta it's to me transition is a work in progress. Some days you're gonna add stuff, some things you're gonna take, sometimes you're gonna take stuff away as your life changes or you adapt to your new lifestyle.
Yeah. It's not an easy process, neither.
It is not an easy
I
process.
mean,
You're
you gotta
100% right.
you gotta
Okay,
you have to see yourself where you're going before you go to where you need to be
correct.
in the long scheme of things. Because if you can't see it, I don't think you can really be it. You just give up quick if you just jump into something. It's like transition. It's like you said, to change. That's a big shift from the military to civilian life, especially if you one that did 20 years or more. That's kind of hard. Have you taken the time to identify roadblocks to fulfilling your plans and purpose?
So I actually want to go back and I want to talk on the first question just a little bit more
Go ahead.
on what you just said. So, good transition habits. So, hear me on this. Transition habits require planning, planning, and more planning. We have to go from the fight or flight mentality of the military to the can I thrive or survive way of thinking. And
Mm.
people say, what's the difference between fight or flight and thrive and survive? There are places that you can live that may not be bad, but you're only surviving. There are places you can be that you have thought out your transition and you're thriving in that area. So part of being a visionary is planning, 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 and more planning.
So let me ask you this real quick. Those areas that you're talking about. So if you sit back and say, let's say where you at, where you are,
Okay. Yes.
you got out there and immediately you found a job.
Yes.
As opposed to an individual getting out in Chicago or New York, do you think it'd be more beneficial for them
So
there?
I don't know if it's more beneficial, but I will tell you this. Um, you if you're not gonna live in an area, right? And this is something that I tell veterans. Like I've had veteran friends who they was gonna leave El Paso and they said, as soon as I get out, I'm gonna buy a house. No, because once they see that you have a retirement date or an ETS date, the bank don't like funding you. So if you know that you're gonna leave an area and move, you may want to look at buying that house 2 to 3 years before you get out. So you have that stable income and you can show them what you're doing. Um, so I'm using that to say that a lot of times, if we're gonna not stay in the area that we were stationed at, you really have to have an advocate on that other side, or you have to go to the area where you want to move, and you really got to plan it out. You got to look at the schools, the neighborhoods, the job market, what veteran associations and things they have, what institutions or do they have for my spouse, so that my spouse can be successful in those areas too.
Mm.
So, that's why transition is, to be honest with you, transition ain't a 1 year thing. Some people have that mentality. I got a year before I get out. I got to prove retirement. I'm gonna make it work. And I'm not saying a year ain't good. However, 18 to 24 months, from my perspective, before you drop that paperwork to say I'm getting out, this ball got to start rolling, the wheel got to start rolling, planning this thing out to make sure you're successful in your transition.
That's 100% true. 100% true. Hope y'all taking that in, taking notes. Saw in first class. Hey, have you taken the time to identify roadblocks to fulfilling your purpose plans?
Yes. So yes. So we have to take it when we look at roadblocks. Every roadblock isn't a no. Some roadblocks are, it's not the time, this ain't meant for me, or further down the road. So we have to understand that when we look at roadblocks, every roadblock ain't a, I can't get this job, so it's nothing out there for me. No, maybe this isn't the season for that particular job for you. So you identify roadblocks. That's one way of looking at roadblocks. The second roadblock that you have to look at is your own you. As much as we think we're as good and squared away, and we're the smartest, strongest, fastest person that walked the earth, we have to look at our own roadblocks, our own proclivities. What things have we done, or what things are shortcomings for us that could turn people off to us when it comes to the job market, when it comes to networking and things of those natures. And those things that are shortcomings, I used to tell people to hide them, but no, you don't hide them. You work on them so you become better, so they're no longer a shortcoming in your life.
True.
So also roadblocks extend to family. You have to look when you're transitioning out the military. Is it beneficial? And this just the way I say it. If you're married, you have to take a holistic approach to your transition, particularly when it comes to roadblocks. Is pulling my kids out of school going to hurt them? Does my spouse have a good job in the area that we're currently living in?
Right.
Am I comfortable in the area that I'm currently living in? And can I establish roots in that community and grow? And not only grow, but thrive. And I think a lot of times when we look at transition or look at roadblocks, we see it from the rose-colored glasses or the white picket fence. Yeah, I'm gonna leave El Paso and I'm gonna go back to, I'm just using this as an example, to North Carolina, and the job market is gonna rain down jobs and I'm gonna have so many jobs to pick, and I'm just gonna pick this job and we're gonna get this big old house and we're gonna live good. And transition ain't a straight line. Transition is mountains, valleys, going through the mud, health challenges, family stresses. You definitely have to take all of those things into consideration. And that's why I went back to my initial point that a roadblock isn't always a no. It's just, it's not my season right now. And you have to understand the difference between something not being your season and something that you have to have right now. You talk to a lot of veterans, and I'm just throwing this out. When I get out, I ain't accepting a job for less than 60,000 a year. Well, good luck on that, buddy. I'm serious.
That's real.
I always tell veterans, this is something to think about. Let's say you're 100% disabled.
Right.
You're 100% disabled. Let's say you're retired E6 or E7, and you get a job making 40,000 a year. Man, you bring it home with all your money. You bring it home at least 110, 120,000 a year. If you can't survive off of double what you was making in the military, something wrong.
Something is seriously wrong.
Yeah. And unlike the military, let me tell you, because I've been in the civilian workforce now for about 5 years. It ain't like in the military where, when you work hard, I'm gonna give you some comp time, or, you done work hard, hey, soldier, go take this day off. No, I'm paying you 60,000 a year. I expect you to work some nights till 10 o'clock. If you don't get a day off on the weekend, I expect that. Am I making sense to you?
Yeah, completely.
And you have to take all of that into consideration, that the military runs off of government money. So they don't care. I mean, they don't want you fraud, wasting, and abusing, but they don't care if you cut an hour here or take a ladonza here or a day off. But that private business or that small business, if you ain't living up to that 60,000, hey, we gotta have a conversation and get your productivity back up. True statement.
Pink slip, yeah,
Yeah.
all day.
Yes. So those are things you have to look at when you're looking at roadblocks, even work-life quality. Something that people at my job get mad at me for saying. This is a true statement. I am not the current job that I do. It's a part of who I am. Meaning I'm expendable. Meaning if I mess up, if I get sick, if I die, somebody is gonna replace me. I am expendable. So it's not who I am, it's what I do. It's a part of my life, but it's not my life as far as everything about me. I look at it from this perspective, and I hope whoever watched this video heard this. When I was in the military, I gave my all. Man, man, soldiers would get in trouble 1, 2 in the morning. I'm at their house dealing with spouse and soldier not getting along, whatever it was. I gave my all, even at the expense of my family. I said when I got out the military, I wasn't doing that.
Mm.
If we get a 59-minute rule, I'm the first one out the door. When it's time to take some time off vacation, I'm the first one with my hand up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna be the best I can be at my job. However, my job is not who I am, it's what I do. And you can't go into a civilian job with a military mindset that I just got to be there all day and show I'm dedicated. Man, you pass out, you die, you get sick, they're going to replace you with somebody. Just a true fact of life.
It is. It is.
So you have to make that transition. Even as a soldier, I kind of wish I had that mentality that I would always take care of my people. I would always sacrifice to make sure my soldiers, those around me, were squared away. But at the end of the day, I wish I would have had somewhat more of a mentality of it's what I do. It's not completely who I am because I made it completely who I was at the time. I felt like I didn't need to go to college. I felt like I ain't need to take a knee and just work on my family. I felt like it was okay for me to miss my kids' basketball games or football games or my daughter cheerleading. I felt like it was okay for that because I just wanted to embody being in the Army. And while I may have embodied being in the Army, when I got out the military, and roadblock was my family weren't used to me being there for them. We had to find a way to work that out. So those are things that you have to look at roadblocks. How do you get back connected with your family? And let me tell you, for people who say you tight with your family, you tight with your family. Yes, I don't disagree with that. But when you get out the military and you ain't deploying and you ain't going to PT and you ain't working late, you ain't getting called in the middle of the night, and you come home every night, it's a different relationship, a bond of living with each other that has to be developed.
That is so true.
Yes.
That is so true. You got to transition back into the household.
That's right.
That's a different type of war.
That is a different type of war. And because your spouse has become independent, they're used to working, with you not being there, making decisions with you not being there. And now you're coming into the fold. I'm a guy, so I can only speak from a guy's perspective. Daddy's home, you know what I'm saying? Daddy got it. Daddy wanna, take the front, take the lead on this. You don't have to worry about that. And sometimes it can create conflict because your families get used to doing things a certain way because you're not always around.
That's so true, man. Hey, so did you write out a plan, and does that plan evolve as your life evolves?
So here we go, right? I ain't trying to bring Bible into it, but I'm gonna read a couple of scriptures. Habakkuk 2, verses 1-3. And I'm gonna just read this real quick. It says, actually, I'm gonna read verses 2 and 3. It says, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. It says, write the vision, make it plain upon tablets, that he that see it may read it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. I am a believer, even if you first, let me say this. Even if you don't believe in God through Jesus Christ like I do, it's wisdom in the Bible that you can read, like what I just read in Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 2 and 3, about writing a vision, make it plain. So I believe in writing out your vision. But before I write out my vision, let me tell you what I did. And this, some people say, man, why would you do that? So this is what I did. I took a piece of paper, I put a circle in the middle, and I put Shannon in it. And then I put all these lines around it. And I put strengths and weaknesses in or all around it, like my thinking board. So I looked at all my strengths and weaknesses. And from there, I said, these are things that are good that I can use as strengths to potentially get into the workforce. And these are things that I need to work on also that could be hindrances to me. So even before I made uh my vision board, I had to be realistic about who I am as a person, my core beliefs, my core thoughts, things that I was going to stand for. And one of the things when I was looking, identifying me that meant something to me was family time, not working on the weekends,
Right.
and having a 9 to 5. Am I making sense to you?
Yeah, big time.
So once I brainstormed out Shannon, what Shannon needed, at least the initial concept to be successful, then I started creating my vision board on things I could, jobs that potentially could suit me if I could get my foot in the door. So we always have to take that look at ourselves. And part of me taking that look at myself before I wrote my vision board was uh, taking a holistic approach to myself. Were there veterans facilities around that could accommodate my needs? Were there veterans facilities around after hours? And what benefits did the state I was in? I'm in the state of Texas that help veterans be the best they could be. So part of making your vision board is you have to look at your location, taxes, school systems, mental health places, just places to get your spirit, your soul, just get you order. So yes, when you write your vision board out, you have to put everything into perspective and say, these are things that I would like to accomplish, or these are things that I want to set in order that would benefit not only me, but my family. So, yes, writing the vision out, making it plain is really important because if you don't have a vision, how can you move forward?
Right.
Think about it. In battle, what does the guidon stand for? That's the vision of the company. You follow the guidon. That's your purpose. You follow that's what keep everybody. As long as you see that flag and it's moving forward, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to move forward with it.
Yeah.
So your vision board, writing down your plan, that's your guidon. That's your guidon giving you purpose, or not giving you purpose, but showing you the direction that you should move in. And that is an azimuth that you use to continue to move forward.
That's big, man. That's big. Writing everything down and make it plain, just like you just
Yes.
said, and make it plain. Make it make sense to you. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to take this to nobody and say, "Hey, could you look over this and see if it makes sense?" This is your plan. This is what you're gonna eat on. This is what's gonna make you have a sense of fulfillment at the end of the day.
Yes.
Hey, do you create milestones to achieve in your transition? And
Oh, of course.
do you hold yourself accountable
Of
to,
course.
to make corrections if those milestones are not achieved?
Yes. So let me break that down. For me, one of the biggest milestones I had was education.
Mm.
And for me, education was big. And let me tell you why. I didn't even want to graduate high school. I wanted to go to job corps. I was like, man, I was more, into running the streets than wanting to go to school. My parents was like, look, either you graduate from high school or you can move out more or less. That was the thing. You ain't going to job corps. And I'm so glad they did that. I understand in this, society or generation, we may say that's harsh, but for me, I needed that. I
Right.
needed them to say that there was something that you were smart enough to finish high school, and that you were gonna finish high school, and that you were gonna go do some things. So I made it through high school. I got my act together. My senior year of high school, um, going, I had to go to both semesters. During the day, I went to school. At night, I went to school. I did that for both semesters. And I had to go to summer school and graduate that summer after the rest of my class graduated so I could make it to basic training on time.
Mm.
But the point that I'm getting at is I had a milestone for education. When I got into the military, I got a little lackadaisical with education. Like,
Right.
man, I don't got time for this. I don't feel like doing this. But towards the end of my career, education became important to me again. So I went and got my associates. Then I went and got my bachelor's degree. And along the way of my bachelor's degree, I got lazy. I was doing just enough work to make it, and I had failed 2 classes. I'll never forget this. And I went to my battalion commander, and I was like, I needed her 05 or above to sign that paper so you don't have to pay for the class. I mean, I know what I'm talking about if you're in the Army. And my battalion commander was like, Sergeant Ward, I am not going to sign this paper. I
Hmm.
said, why? Because you're not stupid. You're just not applying yourself. Am I making sense to you?
Big time.
And when she told me that, it made me have to take a hard look at myself. And I took that hard look at myself and said, I am smart enough to do it. I'm just not prioritizing my priorities. So after I had to pay for that class, this is education. I really started to prioritize my education. And I prioritized my education and I made it out with my, I made it out. I finished my bachelor's and I finished my bachelor's and was like, man, I'm smart enough to get my master's degree.
Hmm.
So real talk. So, during the pandemic, I was working from home. Man, I knocked my master's degree out in 10 and a half, pretty much 11 months, man, because I was working from home. And people were like, man, how could you do it? During the pandemic, when you were sitting home in the house all day, I had insomnia like crazy, man. So I was waking up 2, 3 in the morning. I get up 2, 3 in the morning. I can have all my homework knocked out by 7:30 in the morning. Wake up, go to work, do your little work. And anything I didn't finish by 1:30, 2 o'clock, I was knocking it out, and I was done for the day. I had got so good with it. I was like, man, I could take multiple classes and be good with it.
Hmm.
But I made milestones, and during the pandemic, a milestone of mine was I wanted to get a master's degree. And guess what I did? Got my master's degree.
Got that master's degree.
Started in 2020, and I graduated in 2021. And I just kept pushing, and I just kept working, and I kept telling myself, "You can handle this. You're smart enough." And I just want to talk to veterans because I heard a lot of veterans be like, "Well, I'm not smart. I'm not good at nothing." You are good at something. If you can handle a weapon, if you can use a plugger to put communications together, link them into battalion comms, if you can disassemble a weapon, if you can read a map, you have skills.
Yes, skills.
Now you have to learn how to take those military skills and adapt them to civilian life. But never downplay yourself and say, hey, I won't that smart. I just made it through the military. Listen, everybody can't make it through the military. So if you've made it through, that means that it was something in you that was unyielding, unbreaking, disciplined, and had a will to thrive. So you are somebody. You do have skills. You just have to identify what those skills are and then apply them in a civilian perspective.
Like I shot a video. Don't forget, it's like you got to remember that individual you were when you joined the military, because everything about that person was you had victory on every step of the moment. The PT test, I'm gonna pass it. This
You're
victory
right.
tower, I'm gonna pass it.
You're right.
It didn't matter. I'm gonna go in this field and I'm gonna be okay.
That's right.
Anything that they put in front of you, you had the mindset that you can do it.
I agree.
That you can do it.
I agree.
But you lose your purpose thinking that military was your purpose, but it was just something you did.
And I want to throw one more thing in there, right? Um, and this is for if you're single or if you're married. You were not created when you get out the military, right? And you start a new life, or even in the military. You were not just created to pay bills and die. A lot of times we have that mentality that, I'm just here to pay bills. I'm here to just make sure everybody's taken care of and be miserable and die. No, if anybody's telling you that, you're wrong. Now, do I believe you should be responsible? Yes, I do. But I also need people to understand that you were not created just to pay bills, be miserable, and die. You were created to handle your responsibilities, but also enjoy life. Also, go on walks, be part of veteran groups, take your kids to the games, support them at their volleyball games, go play golf, go play basketball, go on a vacation, go to Jamaica. You were created for more than just to give, and not receive some of the beauty that this earth can provide
Man, that's big.
you.
Enjoy life is what he's telling y'all to do.
Yes.
You just get out of the military. I need to go back to work and make some money.
Yes.
You 100%. I'm not telling you not to make some money, but you need to take some time to yourself to decompress. That's
You are no good to nobody until you're some good to yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's big. On that, man, do you believe you have a purpose?
Yes, I do believe I have a purpose. Um, Real quick, and I'm not saying this as a joke. If there's anybody who believes you don't have a purpose, I want you to take your right hand and put it on your chest. When you take your right hand and put it on your chest, you feel that beating? That's your heart, and it's beating. As long as you got breath in your lungs and a beating heart, you got purpose. You have to find that purpose. You have to transition that purpose from a military style of thinking into a civilian style of thinking. So yes, every person, has an innate ability of purpose. You have to find your niche. Your niche could be like what Mr. Don here is doing. I believe a great part of his purpose is this podcast, reaching out to service members, regardless of your branch, letting you know that there's other people out there who deal with some of the same stuff that you deal with, and it's groups that you can talk to and hear the wisdom and experience from other people to help you make conscious decisions that not only benefit you but benefit those around you. Because I'm a firm believer in whatever your purpose is, it shouldn't cause hurt, harm, or danger to yourself or anybody else. So to me, your purpose should always bring a good to your good to people around you. It shouldn't tear nobody down or beat nobody up or make somebody feel like they're less of a person than you. But it should genuinely help the community and help yourself and make the world a better place.
Big, bro. That's big. So do you understand your purpose?
Um, I do understand my purpose, but also understand that in understanding your purpose will evolve. For me, part of my purpose when I first got out of the military was my family needed me. They needed to be around me. So my purpose, even though I was working, was how can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? How can I be a better friend? Because sometimes in the military we have friends and we get into the hustling floor, duty station to duty station. They somewhere, you somewhere. We tend to lose contact with people who have been good friends or anchors in our life that have helped us get through some rough and tough moments. So understand that part of understanding your purpose is realizing that again, kind of what I said, your purpose shouldn't hurt, cause harm, or destruction. And when I look at part of my purpose, honestly, I love talking to people. So I love being, if I can, an inspiration to people, letting people know that you ain't struggling on your own. There's other people that kind of deal with some of the same things that you deal with, and just generally try to be a positive person. That's what every day I wake up, I try to be positive. I try to say, is it something that I can say that'll brighten somebody's day or give them hope or give them encouragement. So you just got to find what your niche is. Even though on my job now that I work now as a food inspector, even when I'm out inspecting and I'm talking to people, hey man, you got this, man. Hey, we all make mistakes. Things happen. Hey, you know what? You still doing good. Don't worry about just because you messed up right there. You understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm always trying to find ways to encourage people and to let people know that you do have purpose. And you, not you, but whoever watching it, you just have to find you just have to find your purpose. You have to find what works for you. And it's
Right.
gonna take some trial and error. But once you find that thing that you're good at, and keep in mind, you don't have to be a computer guru. You don't have to be a money manager guru. You don't have to be none of that. But what makes you smart is the fact that you know the resources you have to help make you better at it.
Mm.
So, part of it, and then once you get your purpose, uh, you know, um, walk in it. You will always find, you will know when you're walking in your purpose. I can't explain it, but it's a confidence that yeah, I'm walking in on what I'm doing. It's fulfilling. It brings gratitude to other people. I feel like I'm helping other people. I feel like I'm contributing to society and my community. You will know when you're walking in your purpose. And just something that I want to talk about a little bit, and then I'll give it back over to you. First, I want to just let everybody in Maine know who lost a family member. It was 18 people. That my heart goes out. I have prayed for everybody that lost a family member between that bar and the bowling. even those who got shot but didn't die. Last I saw on the news, is still 3 or 4 people that are in ICU critical condition fighting for their life. And my thoughts and prayers go out to them too. My thoughts and prayers even go out for the gunner. And I know some people can't say that, you know what I'm saying? But he was an individual too. His family was our people, just like us. And he had issues going on that didn't get addressed. And I don't know if anybody's been watching it, you know, and I'm not on his side for what he did. Wrong is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But he left kind of a manifesto. And in that manifesto, when I listened to what they read over the news, he had got put out the military because he was having PTSD and mental health problems. Strike one. Hmm. His girlfriend dumped him. Strike two. Because of his mental health issues, he lost his job. Strike three. And he had a son, and he was kind of estranged from his son. Strike four. He lost his purpose. He lost everything that was in his mind dear to him and had nothing to live for. And what I just want to say, if you are that out there, even if you hit rock bottom, you still got purpose. Go talk to somebody before you do something destructive. I'm not validating what he did. I condemn shooting innocent people for no reason. I condemn that. However, when you look at his life, it feels like he didn't have a plan and he lost his purpose. And as vets, never allow yourself to get that low. Before you do that, go to a hospital, call the vet hotline, dial 911, call whatever or whomever you need to get you the help you need and somebody to talk to you before you go down that road of inflicting pain on other people. Because he lost his purpose, he decided to inflict pain on other people. And it just breaks my heart to see that. And I wish his unit or somebody would have recognized what was going on with him and would have been able to reach out to him before he felt like that was his only way to I guess I don't know what was going through his mind, but to the point that he snapped to do that and then take his own life.
Right. That's big. It's always somebody that will sit back and grab you and tell you you're about to do the wrong thing.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's always up to you not to do that wrong thing.
That is correct.
I think a huge part of that, of reaching out and not even on that subject, is to be vulnerable.
Correct.
Because if you can't have yourself like exposed to another individual by with your problem,
yep,
you're gonna have a hard time in life. Because there is someone. It don't even have to be a family member or friend. You get on the phone. I think
that's right.
And call the suicide hotline. It don't even have to be about suicide. They will talk to you.
Yes, they will.
I called them twice, and I'm being transparent. And they will sit there and talk to you.
Yes.
Because sometimes I know it's kind of hard to have family members and friends and talk to them, and they be like, man, I wonder what they're going to think about me if I sat back and told them this.
Yes.
For one, if you run them off by your situation, they're not meant to be in your life.
True.
Two, if that person that you talk to and they give you good sound advice, not even sound advice, they just sit there and listen to you, and they're still there after the storm, that is an individual that you need to keep in your life, like Shannon Ward. You know,
yes,
yes, that's my man's right there. You know, so we've been friends over 10 years.
Over 10 years. I'm gonna tell you. Give me a minute. 2019 was 10 years. 14 years.
Right. So
yes.
Hey, you never lose certain people that is asset.
Yes. And I feel the same. Yes, sir.
You don't lose assets. And that don't have to be monetary. That mental is a huge part of that.
Yes.
Somebody is not there to set you straight on who you are, what you doing. Hey, I want to, before I close out, bro, I want to take it back to a question that we had. You know, we kind of jumped off. Roadblocks. Could you give me one of your roadblocks that kind of hinders you?
Yes. I'm a horrible listener at times. And it's been times where if I just would have listened, it would have caused me a lot less headache, a lot less stress, and I probably wouldn't even have gotten into an argument. So for me, listening has it hasn't always been it hasn't always been an issue, but I noticed when I got out the military, I was assigned first class. So for the most part, I don't want to use the word I barked orders, but I
Right.
kind of gave out what needed to be done. You understand what I'm saying? So, getting out of the military, not being in charge like that anymore. I didn't have a listener's ear. And one of my biggest roadblocks was jumping to conclusions, not having a listener's ear. And I really had to train myself to allow myself to uh, be a listener. And I'm gonna tell you something. Every one of your friends don't have to agree with you, and that's something else I had to learn. You need different opinions because it allows you to make a holistic perspective. You don't always need an amen corner around you. You need some people like Don was just saying that will listen, understand what you're saying, but nah, man, you're going down the wrong path. I'm telling you that because we friends. You my boy. I care about you. So it's good to also, while it's good to have people that agree with you, it's good to have people around you that ain't afraid to say, nah, man, that's stupid. Or, man, maybe you need to look at it from this perspective, where you don't get tunnel vision. So for me, one of my roadblocks was being an effective listener,
Hmm.
and sometimes, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, I've gotten a lot better with it. To the point now where I rarely talk when I heard people say stuff, but it's every now and then have to work on that, because it'll try to go back to, some first class mode. You just kind of barking out the orders. So one of my biggest roadblocks was not giving people time to express themselves and listening to their point of view.
Yeah, I asked that question for a reason. I knew he was going to say that because I think 80% of the individuals that get out of the military that was an NCO or
Mm-hmm.
officer have a problem with taking in information from other people because it's not that they think they know it all. It's just that they want things done in the way that they want it to be done.
Correct.
So it takes some communication training on a certain type of level and understanding that you have this problem. Because if you don't understand you got that problem, we got a problem.
That's right. You're 100% correct. Yes.
Hey man,
Yes.
I appreciate you for getting on this show for the third time. It's probably gonna be a fourth because I think we need to talk about something else, and I'm gonna fill you in on that.
Fair
But
enough.
man, I appreciate you, man. 3 times. This is like I'm gonna throw it out there. This is not easy to kind of get on here and talk to people, spell out your heart, and you know, and get people to take heed to what you're saying. It's not easy getting guests on here because telling people who they are and what they do is a huge part of their identity. You exposing
True.
yourself,
True.
and just like I said, a lot of people don't want people in their business or per se in their mind. I think it's like the imposter syndrome. You bringing somebody a representative, not really telling them who you are or what went on in your life, especially if you got somebody in your life that's been there for 15, 20 years. You
Right.
kind of, you got to be a beacon at times.
You're right.
But hey, about to close out, got a quote. I don't have the name, but I got a quote. The secret to success is consistency to purpose. You weren't born just to live a life and to die. You were born to accomplish something specifically. Matter of fact, success is making it to the end of your purpose. That is success. Success is not just existing. Hey man, let's talk. Who's up next for formation? Out.